Welcome back to Highwater Pass. We are now in episode 17, I want to say, so pretty far in. Last episode we started work on this East Asian terrace over here. So we've kind of had this big empty plot, and I've been really, I had been debating whether or not I was going to use anything of it. But then, like I mentioned in last episode, we had all of this different East Asian influence, and we had this big blank area that after we were done with this, like, the fact that this was blank was just bugging me. So we worked on that last episode. This is going to be the Teahouse. Down here is going to be Formosan black bears, wild water buffalo, and maybe peacocks or some other couple of animals that aren't going to conflict with each other, staff buildings, and orangutan Siamang. So before we get into the meat of today's episode, I am actually going to jump over to a little bit of work that I did outside of the zoo. I mentioned last time that we were having I was having a lot of trouble figuring out what I wanted to do with this tea shop, and that all of the references that I found didn't have anything even remotely equating in the base game, so I was going to have to build all those assets custom. So anyway, I recorded that, so we are going to go ahead and jump into that footage real quick, and I will see you when we get back. Alrighty, so now that we've got all those assets built, I'm actually going to be dismantling the walls through here and bringing in those assets that I built during that skip. And we are going to be starting off by making this area look actually good, because right now it looks like trash. I'm sorry, it looks terrible, and I'm not happy with it, especially not with all the work that we've done throughout the rest of the zoo. And then we are also going to replace this parquet path. It looks very good in truly tropical zoos, but like we talked about last time, this isn't a truly tropical zoo. We have tropical sections, but not necessarily enough to warrant this path. Like, it doesn't mesh with the grass very well, and it doesn't mesh with the rest of the zoo very well. So it looks, we've got this kind of richer, darker texture down here that the rest of the zoo has been done in. And I do want to set this apart, but maybe not this far apart. So that is going to be what we start off with. We'll do this tea house, we'll fix the pathing, and then depending on how long that takes, we may move on to other sections. But, again, it's really going to depend on how things work out. So I will see you after we do I keep calling it a time reel. It's not a time reel, but that's what I'm going to call it. So, yeah, see you in a bit. Alrighty, so we're back from the time lapse. And, yeah, I think the island is looking, well, the whole island looks amazing, but this whole section right through here is looking way better than when we started off. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you a real quick tour of it, and then after that we are going to talk about future plans, because, as you've probably noticed, we've kind of run out of room. I think this is probably going to be the last official episode of, like, building the park. I think after this we're going to move on to cleaning up all the little details and adding in some actual animals and habitats. So I'm really excited. I've been working on this for about 2 months. Yeah, about 2 months, almost exactly in real time. So it's really exciting for me to go ahead and add some actual animals in here. And I'm sure that, you know, with you guys, it's been, if this is a weekly episode, like, if this is a weekly upload, and we're 16 episodes in, that's what, 4 months of building a zoo with no animals. So I'm sure that you guys are ecstatic to hear that we're gonna get some actual animals in next episode. I know I certainly am. So let's go ahead and get the tour underway for what we did today. We're gonna jump down here into explore mode. Let's start over here. So one of the interesting parts about building this zoo is that you can basically see, you know, most of the sightlines that we're going to be looking at from, like, all kinds of angles that you wouldn't expect. And again, it's because we've got that kind of height going on for us. So as we come through this area through here, you can already see the line of these trees up here. And I think it blends nicely with this already kind of tropical themed area that we have down here. So moving up this direction, you get a nice view of, this is actually not the tea house, this is the little house that I put into the farming area. So we have this Northern Pass trail sign. I think I'm going to move this back over here. And then I'm going to put some vegetation, maybe do some rocks and stuff like that, but I kind of want to do that off screen. Or maybe as, like, you know, when we go through here and do the habitats, we'll do this area as well, because it's very plain. But I don't necessarily know what I want to do for it yet. I want to let that brew for a little bit. And then, of course, we have to hide this. Don't necessarily want people seeing into the guest area like that. I went ahead and also brought down the trees from over here. Just because, you know, there's no animals in that corner, so it made sense to do it at the time. So you come up here and you see into the rice paddies. When we do the actual habitat, I'm going to select something that looks like rice growing. Maybe we'll do some of the grasses. And of course we'll have our animals walking through here. I ended up making another little, like, shack up here, just that way you get this, like, jungle and then this little house that's standing on the ledge. Makes the whole thing feel a little bit more like we're actually, like, on the edge of some kind of village, I think. So we walk through here, this nice little house. If you'll want, I will put the kit for this up on Steam, if you think that it would be helpful for you. definitely let me know. But otherwise, you know, it'll definitely be part of the zoo, and the zoo is going to get uploaded to Steam when I'm done. So, next we've got this nice bamboo line, so you can see into where the orangutans are going to be. But I wanted this path covered up, and thankfully the Bengal bamboo was, like, just the perfect height to get the job done. And then, of course, as you approach over here, we're going to have the Formosan bear. And I have done next to nothing with this area. I have added in some rock work, but, you know, that's mostly for people on the ground over there as sort of a framing thing. We'll get some more bamboo, and maybe we'll get in, like, a little house that he's, like, broken into over here or something as, like, a shelter. And then as you come up, you get another house right here. There's no, like, path to it or anything like that. I didn't think it was necessary because it's just set dressing. And then you walk into this little tea area. So when I pictured this in my mind, I really wanted this to be like a nice enclosed kind of, you know, very personal, cramped, intimate space. Not cramped, but intimate is the right word. And so having this building right here helped, and then of course when we put the foliage through here, it'll help frame that off. And then I built this sort of guard wall through here so that way you can't see out into the giant void that is the edge of the island. This wall isn't necessarily for anything. I just thought that it would be really nice to like frame the area and make it feel, you know, the way that I kind of wanted this area to feel. And I think it's definitely accomplished that. We did some tile work through here. I'm not going to try and go into the tea house because A, it's a functioning restaurant in the sense that like the item is there to function. But otherwise, there's nothing in there. There's no interior or anything like that. So, and then we come over here, and we have our little monkeys, and they're perched on this little, like, fountain thing. Moving over here, you get this, like, building again. And then this is going to be, as we mentioned before, this is going to be a dining area, so I'm going to put tables off through here. And then I'm going to leave this path open so that way guests can walk through and go over to the orangutans. So you can sit, have a bite to eat or whatever, and then look out across the enclosure. Now what I don't know is if the orangutans are going to be able to escape through here. So if that's the case, I will put some glass as sort of like a barrier so that way they can't, you know, escape through here. Got some vines, and then we go through here onto the actual path, which I've left as this orange parquet, because it looks really good framed against the bamboo. It just didn't look good in that quantity that we had back there. So, and this is all framed very nicely. It's kind of like, I don't know, it kind of reminds me of like a stage. And I'm hoping that that's, you know, gonna play to our advantage. Obviously there will be bamboo throughout all of this to like break this up and everything. What does kind of worry me, I don't know if I mentioned this last time or not, but whether or not they're gonna be able to jump off the brachiation frame onto this platform, I don't know. I've never actually used the brachiation set before, so this is going to be exciting when we get there. And then, of course, you look down here, and you get this wonderful shot of the zoo framed through the, through, like, the tree and the bamboo all the way off into this area, and then the city beyond. So, I think it looks nice. It looks good. So, and then of course over here we've got our staff entrance to the habitat, and then we have kind of this nice jungle area through here that you know, leads down to the staff building. So normally the guests wouldn't be able to come through here, but you know, since we don't have to worry about that. Oh, apparently what we do have to worry about is the path not liking me. This happens quite a lot actually. So let's see if I can get down through this way. If it's not, I'll just jump down there. Yeah, no, it doesn't like us. So, I'm going to escape out, zoom out real big, and then just come through here. And then this is our little staff area. I thought about covering up this because it's, I don't know, it was noticeable for me. But I don't think that it's going to be noticeable once you get into the zoo and are walking around. But I do like this area quite a lot. I think that the guests, or not the guests, the staff will enjoy it as well. So, you can see that we've got 100%, so we don't have to worry about there being any kind of issues with it, like, you know, harming the guests or anything like that. But let me double check that real quick. Negative impact. Yeah, see, no, we're fine. We're good. That's not going to have any impact on the guests whatsoever. So yeah, that's basically everything that we did for today. And then, starting next episode, we are going to actually be putting some animals in. We're going to be finishing off on our vegetation throughout the zoo, doing some decoration here and there. And then, this is basically the home run. So, as kind of an explanation about what we're going to be doing, the format is going to be changing. So, don't worry too much when you come on to the next episode and you're like, wait a second, this is not how the zoo has been running for the last 16 episodes. What's going on? So, because of the fact that we're going to be focusing on the animals, what I want to do is have a specific, animal spotlight. So, when we do the red-crowned crane enclosure, I want to have a spotlight on here's information about the red-crowned crane. And, here's some things that you maybe didn't know about it. Here's some things about their natural habitat, how they've become pop culture icons in Japan and what their place is now. That kind of thing. So, really just do a deep dive on the specific animal and the specific habitat that we're doing. So, I'm going to be doing all of that in voiceover while the time-lapse. While the time-lapse happens in the background, I'll be giving those sorts of details. And then, at the end of the episode, we'll have some where we just sit down and, watch the animals, either from, little spots in the guest area, or from, within the habitat or whatever. So, maybe for the red-crowned cranes, we'll come over here. We'll sit down and, just watch the cranes or whatever. This isn't necessarily the greatest view because we've got this whole shopping center up here, but, yeah, and then of course, a lot of animals do not actually have education boards. So, for example, none of this has education boards, none of this through here has education boards, and then I know that there's a few more animals that don't either. I think the jaguar's missing them, the leopard certainly is as well. So we'll be building those. So, we're not completely done with building forever. Obviously we're going to be going on to the habitats, but I think all of the structure of the zoo is done, and we are at a really good place to go ahead and actually, make this a zoo instead of just a model kit, which is what it's been lately. So, this is going to get, a whole bunch of foliage added to it. We're not going to make this anything. It's in a weird spot anyways. Anyway, I hope that you guys have really enjoyed this whole process. It's definitely been enjoyable for me. I'm really excited to see this zoo done and to finally do the full walkthrough. I've got some big plans for that. So hopefully you're all looking forward to it, and y'all have a wonderful day.